This is Voicemail, the Universal Postal Union's podcast covering the wonderful world of mail. I'm your host, Ian Kerr. In this episode, we shift our focus to the burgeoning e-commerce scene in Ecuador. In a moment, I'll be joined by Pierangela Sierra. She's founder and CEO of online supermarket and delivery platform Tipti, as well as an e-trade women's advocate. We'll cover entrepreneurship, the e-commerce boom, sustainability, and much more. So stay tuned for Pierangela Sierra, founder and CEO of Tipti. Joining me on the line is Pierangela Sierra. She's the founder and CEO of Tipti and e-trade women's advocate. Pierangela, welcome to Voicemail. The question we ask all of our guests is about their first memory of the post, whether it's going to a post office or receiving a letter. Just share with us, please. What's your first memory of the post?
Thank you. Thank you very much, Ian, and very pleased to be here. Well, my first memory was my mom studied a master's degree in England when I was very young, 9 years old, and we as family received a lot of postcards from her, and we can be close to her when we receive those postcards. So it was very, very, very beautiful.
It seems to be a common theme with our guests, receiving postcards or letters from people who are far away. Just something that doesn't happen now. How can we rekindle that? It's probably a question for another time. Let's talk a bit about Tipti. So Tipti is one of the fastest growing e-commerce companies in Ecuador. So, how did you come up with the idea, and tell us also what Tipti is, what Tipti does.
Well, Tipti is a supermarket online. However, we have a very difference there, which is that our shoppers are people who are very or are experienced in terms of gastronomy. So they have the experience and the skills to choose your vegetables, your fruits, or your food very good. And that's our value proposition, and it causes a very difference in terms of experience and service for our consumers. Tipti was born out from mine and my husband's desire of balance our professional and personal life. We have a lot of work. We travel a lot around Latin America, and we don't have time to spend together, to spend with our family, to spend with our friends. And for me, it was very tedious doing supermarket, doing grocery shopping. I have no time to doing that. So in 2017, we begin to draft a business plan and develop an initial app. And this initial app, we want to really be sure that it's going to be a really good proof of concept in the market. So we begin to test with friends, with family. And at the end of 2017, we begin to put in the market very softly. And we begin to gain traction and significant partnership with CPG companies and with retailers at the end of 2019. And consequently, I left my corporate career and formally became Tipti's CEO. So it was a very beautiful journey, and we are very happy with this startup.
I just want to ask, while you're talking about the fact that it's app-based and the way that it's a time-saving proposal, what have you seen with regards to the adoption of the internet and the adoption of mobile phones, etc., in Ecuador? And has that helped fuel e-commerce as a whole, and in particular your app's development?
No, really, because in Ecuador and in Latin America, we are underdeveloped versus other continents. However, the pandemic begins to raise the attention to drive awareness of this kind of tools that you have with your computer or with your phone. And internet is the penetration is around 67%, 70%. We don't have internet penetration in rural areas, and we are a very poor country, so we have a lot of rural areas. So we have a very huge opportunity to develop and to really continue growing. And in fact, in the pandemic, the Latin America was the continent that has raised the highest growing in terms of adoption, in terms of penetration, in terms of using e-commerce tools because of that, because we were underdeveloped.
Now, you just mentioned the pandemic and the impact that had on internet take-up or mobile usage, etc. And obviously, that's had a big impact on e-commerce in general. So, tell us about the pandemic and how that might have impacted on how Tipti operates. And I guess, did you experience that surge in business that we saw so many other grocery delivery companies have? And how did you cope with it? And I'm asking you a lot of questions on it, but also, do you think that these trends are here to stay?
As most of e-commerce players around the world, the pandemic exponentially accelerated that growth, and Tipti was not the exception. And we grow more than 10x from 2019 to 2020. So there were a lot of on-demand groceries. So was maybe one of the fastest growing segment because there's the only thing you want to buy and you want to have in your home. So we have to do a lot of things there because we have not only those kind of exponential demand, but also social restrictions, global lockdowns. We cannot move in the city. It was kind of very difficult to try to operate. However, the pandemic acted as a significant catalyst. It's the best marketing plan that we could have in terms of drive awareness of this kind of elements, drive awareness of this kind of tools that you could use in terms of help yourself, not only buying groceries but buying other things, meeting each other with Zoom or with any kind of tools, continue having classes and other kind of things. So we've been forced to grow very, very fast, but we were very savvy in terms of develop an efficient playbook, and we professionalize and automatize all of our operations, inclusive the recruitment process of our people, of our talent. We use artificial intelligence to do this more fast because we need really to take a lot of important decisions, take a lot of risk, and begin to have clear directions to our people to continue growing and to continue serving our consumers. In terms of if this is going to continue in the future, well, for sure it will be. As I said before, in Latin America, in Europe, and other countries and other continents, we are kind of underdeveloped in terms when you see China or Asia. And it's question of time. And what pandemic did is put in front of us this kind of reality, and it's going to continue happening. It's going to continue develop. It's going to continue improve for sure. Very good in terms of have more quality in our daily basis, in our what we do in our home, in our office, and in terms of medicine and other situations where technology could help us as human beings and to have a better future and better quality of life.
Let's turn now to the postal sector for a moment. Many postal operators are looking for ways to diversify in e-commerce. It's not just about shipping parcels. It might also be about helping or providing services to SMEs to sell domestically and internationally. Now, given everything you've just said about, did you just say 10 times growth in 12 months?
Yeah.
A wonderful problem to have.
Yeah.
I suppose, yes. But given that rapid growth you've seen at Tipti, do you have any sort of tips for how to succeed in the sector, especially in Latin America?
Mm-hmm. Well, as you said, well, e-commerce and all those technicals and digital tools that we are having right now in our table, for sure are going to improve. And I think e-commerce right now is about posting. It's about thinking about post office in the future, in the new era. So. But for sure, we have to use modern technologies and leverage from consumer new habits because It's happening now, and it's going to happen in the future. So about the tips, well, I think you always have to create a very simple solution, a solution that is very, very simple to understand from the consumer. Using modern technologies, using all the expertise that post office and the knowledge that they have in terms of service, in terms of logistics, in terms of how to use efficiency, but translating those expertise and those knowledge to those modern technologies. Focus on service with speed and convenience, because people right now have a lot of tools with speed and convenience, and you have to compete with those kind of situations. And something that we are expecting as consumer is use the post office as a very secure and confident organization that could help us to really translate something, whatever it is, very, very secure, and have the confidence that it's going to be there, and it's going to be in the way that we are sending the package, or whatever it is. So if the post office or companies in that category are thinking about how to improve, I think that creating a simple solution with a value added solution of the consumer are going to be very successful in the future.
Let's go back to this topic of sustainability, which we discussed during the recent UPU webinar. The growth of e-commerce raises concerns about the environmental footprint of deliveries, and you just mentioned about super fast and instant delivery, and there's a whole other load of concerns about the environmental impact of that sort of on-demand delivery. So tell us, from Tipti's perspective, how does Tipti approach sustainability?
Well, I think that Tipti Tipti is today collectively save more than 1.5 million hours from our consumers, because they are doing whatever they want to do instead of doing grocery supermarket. But most important, we attend more than 270 customers. So they didn't drive to the supermarket in the past 4 years. They ask us for doing the grocery supermarket, and you are saving a lot of time and a lot of gas and transportation, because the shopper is in the supermarket, is receiving your order, they are preparing the order, and they are sending. So you are saving the consumer going to the supermarket and returning to the supermarket, and the people who is delivering the groceries is delivering 1, 2, or 3 orders at the same time in the same sector. So now I think we are really saving a lot of time and a lot of gas. I don't have a certification right now. We are looking to be a B Corp company, and having not only the certification around the carbon neutral, but also other kind of verticals that we are working very, very hard in terms of women incorporation in the company, and also working in terms of giving our consumers more quality in terms of what are they doing on a daily basis. But also, we are avoiding to build much more supermarkets. What we are now buying in terms of groceries in Ecuador is equal and to have 2 or 3 more supermarkets in Ecuador. So we are avoiding to build more supermarkets, brick and mortar supermarkets. And so I think we are now having a really good proof point in terms of building sustainability in the future.
Let's also talk about gender equality then. So what's your experience of building a career as a woman in both FMCG and in e-commerce? And can you just share a couple of observations on the challenges and even the current situation that there is in Latin America when it comes to being a woman forging a career in whether it's e-commerce or FMCG or whatever?
Well, although some progress has been made in recent years in terms of closing the gender gap, not only in the tech sector but also in all the sectors, CPG sector, retail sector, and all of that. The community remains a boys' club in which women perceive more difficult than men in being corporate in a company, have a successful career, or begin a startup, or being in the world of entrepreneurship. Um, so many of the challenges is how to be really respect in this kind of environment, how to have visibility, which is other of the very huge challenges, and how to really be part of these companies, have an opportunity to begin working in these companies and demonstrate that you have the same competences, not only functional but also other competences that could help you to have a very good career there. So for me, is that really see you as a human being, and they respect you as a professional, and have that visibility, and that's why we as a woman, and as a professional community, not only women but also men, we have to be to raise the voice, and also to have this awareness to help other women to have that visibility, to look for those tools that could help us as a company to recruit very good talent, diverse talent, and to give them the opportunities to be part or to have a leadership position in the future. Um, I was working a lot with Endeavor. Endeavor is an ONG which is worry about develop a lot of entrepreneurship in around all the world. In Latin America, only we have 24 uh, women in terms of founding companies, in terms of beginning a startup, and 95% of the investment that raised around Latin America go to the companies of men companies, not of women companies. Just only the 5% of the investment around Latin America goes to women. So there's a lot of challenges, not only of terms of respect, in terms of visibility, but also when you are operating, there are few women in the companies, and there are few confident to really endorse women money to begin their company or to sustain their company in their future. So it's kind of difficult in the tech industry, which is a industry that grows a lot. We only have 24% of terms of women in the digital economy in Latin America. So we have a lot of work to do there. However, in my experience, I have a very good experience in terms of working with women, because they can really make great differences in terms of performance, in terms of development, in terms of developed talent, and in terms of really have a very good result. So in Tipti, we have 70% in terms of working women in leadership positions, and 45% in terms of hold the company.
Just continue on that theme then about empowering women. How does Tipti contribute to empowering women, both in terms of its customers and its employees?
I really have a very, very good experience. When women are given access to opportunities for career growth, they make a really huge impact in the company. And the functional areas that are led right now by women, we have a 71% in terms of women leadership in the company. Their areas are the highest producing, with the lowest turnover rates. They really can organize, or maybe more structure, more focus in terms of objective, in terms of which are those resources they need to accomplish those kind of objectives, and they can put in the right measure those kind of resources, and they really look for very good results, are very focused in terms of what they are doing. They have a kind of focus in terms of professional, indeed part of the time, and they have to do another things maybe at home. And some of them are single, some of them have a family, but they're really work with a lot of passion, with a lot of commitment, and with a lot of good performance in terms of what they. So I think we have a responsibility as a leader of a company, because there are a lot of things that we need to happen in terms of public policy level. However, while this is happening, we could really have a leadership role in terms of taking specific actions, looking for more women in terms of leadership in the company, and make a real change in terms of changing the ecosystem in terms of inclusiveness and converting us a company as a real agent of change, as a real agent of set example of this kind of this kind of things.
Let's turn our attention now to your involvement with the UNCTAD. So how did you become a UNCTAD advocate, and how does the program help other women entrepreneurs?
Well, I was very honored. I was very surprised last year when I received a call from the United Nations. I was selected from a cohort of very outstanding women leaders in terms of digital economy around the world, Latin America and the other continents. And they asked me to be part of this really wonderful idea of trying to help to understand all the needs that have the woman, and how do we be agent of change in terms of become a role model or a point of contact for those women and help them to really transform their lives. So We Trade for Women combines the transformative power of female entrepreneurship with the positive impact of digital technologies. And the objective of the E-Trade for Women community is to support women digital entrepreneurs who are shaping in this digital ecosystem and develop a very good, or helping them to develop a very good transition in terms of better economies, better business leaders, and help them to raise their voice, help them to, or with our personal help, influence political people, policies, debates, or whatever. So we understand that, as you said before, we have a lot of gaps in terms of how to be included in the professional world. But when we are talking about digital technology, the gap is kind of much more difficult. So, and in terms of beginning a startup, so we understand that we really need to recruit them, try to understand which are the key stakeholders in the different countries around the different continents, look for them, talk with this wonderful woman, begin to create a community, help others with mentoring, understand in which stage are them, what kind of help in terms of investment, in terms of coaching, in terms of mentoring they need. And this is what E-Trade for Women vertical does.
Finally then, Pierangela, what's your advice to women and girls who want to become entrepreneurs but might feel that they lack the confidence, skills, or resources?
Well, I think that much of the time, women have this kind of gap, which is thinking much about this. I cannot do it or whatever. So I think that the only limits are the ones that we impose on ourselves. And so if you believe in your idea, don't waste too much time thinking about it. Do it. Try to look for those resources you need. Follow your dream. Follow your ideas. And even if they are not perfect, my best advice is do it. Do it. The most fast you to do that, it's going to be the better. So You have to really think about those kind of ideas with diligence and determination, but go for it. My advice is go for your dream, go for your idea, try to do it very, very fast.
Some words of wisdom there to finish up today. Pierangela Sierra, founder and CEO of Tipti and E-Trade Women's Advocate. Thank you very much for joining us on the UPU Voicemail podcast today.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Bye.
You've been listening to Voicemail, the official podcast of the Universal Postal Union. Subscribe to the podcast on your favourite podcast platform and you'll get each episode downloaded to the device of your choosing as it's released. My thanks to the team at the UPU for their help putting together this episode. I'm your host, Ian Kerr, and I'll look forward to your company next time on Voicemail, the podcast of the UPU.